The StoryTree app, a novel way to share and record life stories. Hello, my name is Daniel Wilson, and I am one of the authors of StoryTree, who will be narrating this brief presentation. I'd like to thank you for coming out today to learn more about our revolutionary new app and website for sharing and recording memories, which is found at StoryTree.com. We hope that as you do learn more about StoryTree, you will be as excited about it as we are, and that you will be inspired to give it a try. What is StoryTree anyway? Well, for one thing, it may be the coolest app you've never even heard of. But what makes it so cool? And so innovative? The StoryTree app and website not only enables sharing memories in real time, like other social media apps, but it also automatically cultivates, collects, and organizes those memories, so you and your posterity can preserve them forever. We'll get into more of the details of how it does this in a moment. Think of all those great photos and stories you, your family, and others have shared on various apps by phone and computer over the years. Where are they now? Those apps weren't designed to be able to save or physically publish memories. Just share them in the present and then move on to the next set of experiences, photos, or whatever. Don't get me wrong. Standard social media can be an awesome resource for sharing memories, just not saving them so much. In my family, we have primarily used the chat app called WhatsApp, and every day my wife and I would get new sets of cute photos of the grandkids, along with various other family adventures and memories. Well, it occurred to me one day that it seemed such a waste that all those cool memories and experiences were just getting pushed out by new ones and not being saved somehow. That was one of the chief reasons my partner and I have spent tens of thousands of dollars and hours to develop StoryTree. So to repeat, it seems the nature of most social media content is, well, here today, gone tomorrow. Yesterday's posts and pics quickly become old news, buried by the great tide of time. But again, that is not the case with StoryTree. In fact, it's the exact opposite. With StoryTree, shared online memories can be instantly and easily saved into a valuable digital record, one you can even publish as a hard copy. To do this, StoryTree has 4 powerful key tools, all connected, all in one place. It's like the Swiss Army knife of memory sharing, keeping, and publishing. And what are the 4 key tools? Let's get into that now. First, there's StoryChat, a chat app where content can be saved into a journal. It's very similar to WhatsApp and other popular chat apps and message boards. Second, StoryLog, a standalone journal connected to StoryChat and other apps. Third, Storybook, a life story collector that helps compile 5 topical memory books about you through an automated memory interview, or AMI. And last, Storybox, a Dropbox folder vault to hold memorable media and docs. These 4 connected tools all support one another synergistically, but they do not depend on one another. In other words, they can be used together or separately. Each is a valuable standalone app by itself. More on each one of these to follow. This simple app interface image shows the 4 buttons to access the 4 key StoryTree tools. Storybook is by far the most unique of the 4 key tools of StoryTree. It uses 5 topical books with chapters filled with fun interview questions about your past, present thoughts, overview, and miscellaneous, which is called yada yada. More on Storybook in a moment as well. So to access StoryChat on your main StoryTree homepage, you just tap the StoryChat button. Simple enough, right? When you do, a message board page like this will open. This message board image is the one that would be seen on a laptop, but on your phone it would look very similar to other chat apps that you might be using now. The main difference is twofold. One, you could simply press on a post, photo, or video and instantly transfer it into your Storylog. 2, this message board has fun and interesting weekly prompts sent into it to generate stories and discussions and feelings and thoughts and opinions about the past, present, about people, about random crazy things. It's meant to bring out and record the nature of the personalities on that board. Those stories and posts can become optionally part of your Storylog or your 5 automated memory books. When you tap on the Story Log button, a simple but elegant calendar journal opens. And that looks something like this. All you have to do is tap on any date to add a journal entry, include photos and other media. The entries that you put in your log can be instantly read online by the group or kept private. You can also add things at any time, posts, photos, videos, and you don't need to wait for weekly prompts if you're feeling the need to record a spontaneous story or two, or photo, video, whatever. You can also add other memories from photos, media, whatever from other apps, transfer them into StoryLog, and vice versa, transfer them out of StoryLog into your other social media sites. And if you just tap the Storybook button, you will instantly be able to access the new interface for the 5 automated memory books represented by the 5 books on a tree. From there, you can gradually fill those books line upon line at your leisure. Tap any one of these 5 books to access hundreds of topical Amy prompts to help you create these books. As mentioned, Storybook sends fun weekly prompts as well into StoryChat and to the group's emails. The group can see the responses of anyone who shares a story or a response, and they automatically simultaneously populate your memory books. The 5 topics of Storybook are the past, the present, thoughts, overview, and yada yada. The first 3 are self-explanatory. Overview is basically the who, what, when, where of your life, the kind of the usual more mundane stuff that goes into a biography, where you were born and etc., dates and places. Yada yada is just sort of a fun miscellaneous collection of humorous or ways to spark memories. Show you a picture of a campfire and say what is the first memory that comes to your mind when you see this campfire, things like that. It's pretty interesting. When you do tap one of those 5 topical book buttons, a page of prompts like this will open. Storybook has hundreds of fun and interesting prompts, topics, and subtopics, as I've mentioned before. Use Storybook to tell all those buried life stories you have before they are forgotten. We have a few minutes left, so I'll tell you 2 quick stories related to StoryTree. I told you about how our family chat app, WhatsApp, influenced the creation of StoryTree. Another strong influence was a family reunion we had a few years ago at a camp in rural Alabama. At that reunion one night, the adults played a game after the kids went to bed. They sat in a circle and took turns, each person telling some story or fact that no one or few people knew about them. I got to thinking of all the many experiences in my life that I'd never told anyone, never shared, never recorded. Things that had happened that even my own family knew little to nothing about. I thought about how all of my ancestors and my mother's father, who was the only one I knew much about, because my grandfather had bothered to write a brief light story before he passed on. And I wished I had done a better job of recording and sharing my own life. Anyway, as the game was played, I also thought about one particular story in my own life that I thought was strange, that I had never shared because it was so powerful to me when it happened. When I was in high school, my friends and I were really into old hot rod cars. I saved all the money I could working nights as a restaurant dishwasher and weekends at an auto repair shop and gas station. I was saving to buy my first project hot rod. Anyway, I ended up buying just the frame and shell of a beat-up old 1955 two-door Chevy Bel Air with no engine, transmission, or interior. Anyway, I worked really hard every free minute I had to build that car out of spare parts and components I found in the classified ads. I put in a used high-performance motor and transmission. I cut out lots of rusted metal and with another man's help, welded in new floorboards and quarter panels. I installed bucket seats and customized the interior. I worked for months to get that car ready to pass the state safety inspection. Nearly a year, really. While at the same time, I prepared the body for a custom paint job that I'd saved up for. I finally got it to pass the inspection and license to drive. My first dream hot rod was almost complete. I just lacked the paint job. Then late one night, I was fast asleep in the basement when my father came down to wake me. He said, Danny, urgently, wake up. There's been an accident with your car. My glorious 55 Chevy was safely parked in front of the house, so I couldn't fathom what he was talking about. Being half asleep, I thought it must be some misunderstanding or just a nightmare. I threw on some clothes and stumbled out into the front yard, and there in the street light, I could see my dream car all smashed up and straddling the curb, with pieces strewn all over the place. Some drunk driver had missed the turn and had plowed straight into my car at a high speed and destroyed it. I couldn't even recall if they caught him, such was my shock from the whole episode that night. Fortunately, the story has a happy ending. The insurance company ended up paying me twice the money that I invested in my car to that point. I took that money and bought an even more beautiful 57 Chevy, and someone else had built with more experience, and it was in much better condition and much nicer interior and expensive chrome rims. In addition, I ended up taking my special motor out of my smashed up 55 and put it in the 57 Chevy and painted the car candy apple red with beautiful, barely visible flames climbing up the hood, as was popular then. I came to love that car just as much, maybe even more. The gray and red cars in this picture are similar to what the two cars in my story look like. The point is, this was a story from my own life worth sharing and recording, at least in my opinion, and there were so many more, mine and everyone else's, that too often were generally not known by those we love. We in turn did not know enough of their life stories for whatever reason. They just needed some way of getting out of our heads and phones and into a lasting record. That's how StoryTree came about. Anyway, back to how StoryTree works. StoryTree is like having a kind and curious author come to your home whenever you want and have him or her interview you to compose your personal or family biography. And who wouldn't want to have your own personal book of life written for you? Of course, you still have to answer the questions, but that part is kind of fun. And as mentioned, there are over 700 questions in 5 categories that the StoryTree interviewer can ask you, all about your life and family at your leisure. And many of the questions aren't really questions at all, but just fun game-like prompts. The interviewer is Amy, the automated memory interview. She is the same one that sends a weekly prompt into your story chat for everyone to share and see responses together. You can also use Storybook to interview and record the stories of others, such as aging loved ones before their stories are lost. It has an audio feature where they can just tell their stories and you can record them auditorily. You don't necessarily have to write anything. And now, the fourth and final key tool of StoryTree, as I said, is Storybox. Just touch the button and you'll see something like this. Storybox is a bank or a vault to drop all your old photos, videos, memorable documents, talks, artwork, schoolwork, whatever, to either store or sort out later. You can even take pictures of your kids' refrigerator door art that they bring home from school, and you feel bad throwing it away. You can take a picture and put it in a folder here in the Storybox. You can make a show and tell folder for cool stuff you would normally just lose over time. It's pretty simple in itself, but integrated with your story log, story chat, and book becomes another key tool for sharing and preserving as a group or alone. Just think of all those things that you wish you had some record of. You could just take a quick photo of and keep here in your Storybox. So StoryTree, it really is that simple. 4 wonderful tools that work harmoniously together. Each one you can use in and of itself. No more life story brain freeze. Just let Amy help you write your life story, even if it's just a little bit at a time, or as fast or as slow as you wish. No more pressure of a daily journal so hard to keep up. It's like a fun, topical, paint-by-numbers self and family portrait. You can create at whatever rate you please. You can do it as a family, you can do it as privately. You can even sync your story trees so that whatever you post in one can go to the other. You can have a private story tree that is like a private journal, and the things that you contribute to the family story tree automatically populate your private story tree, and saves a lot of time that way. It also has a function called Book View, where you convert your story log and storybook into a series of culled posts in a printable format. So it's more of a linear thing, so that it works better as a hard copy. If nothing else, StoryTree can provide a great Sunday activity for the whole family. Make journaling fun again. See and comment on each other's stories. Help the family stay connected. You can do this in person or online. Our family is all over the country, in West Virginia, in Washington State, Utah, California, Arizona, everywhere. And so it's a way that we can all share our lives and remember our lives together. So StoryTree also has a setting to activate LDS prompts. If you're a Latter-day Saint, you can answer gospel topic prompts together or alone and get record of your testimonies and of your thoughts and feelings and opinions and perspectives that would otherwise would be lost over time. So now what? You already share your valuable memories online in various apps, or maybe you don't, but many people do. Even if it's just by email, you're sharing things back and forth. But it's very common today to have some kind of a social media app, even if you don't like social media that much. Everyone seems to be texting and having message boards of some sort. But how many of you and me use those things in a manner that is conducive to keeping a long-term journal of sorts? That is what StoryTree could do. It could make all those valuable memories that you're sharing online now, in whatever fashion, keep them from blowing away in the wind. If you would like to learn more or try it out for free, just visit StoryTree.com, and you can register there, or you can go to your respective app store and download the app. Both ways will get you to the same place, and you'll be able to use your StoryTree online on your phone or on your laptop through the website equally by either means. Now, one thing just kind of note, depending on when you're hearing and watching this presentation, we are still in beta mode, and there are things we're working to improve, so please be patient with us. If you wish that something worked differently, give us some feedback, and we'll be sure to respond to try and make StoryTree the best possible app and website that we can. Thank you so much for your time.